personal lesson you've learned from this crisis that you will keep with you post COVID-19?
Jump in, I guess. I think it's kind of a lesson, maybe also a reminder, but really that this economy is fundamentally driven by all the workers that do all the stuff that are largely still out there working. We spend a lot of time in the media talking about, the S&P 500 and stock market, and all companies are hurting right now. I don't want to diminish anyone, but to some degree, the big companies are fine, but the economy is not. And it's a good reminder that everybody is important and everybody is contributing.
I was going to say the partnerships that we're seeing to solve some of these problems. Cisco can give the connectivity, right? But who are the application providers? Who are the ones that we're working with? Because it really does take a team, right, to solve some of these problems. And we're seeing within Silicon Valley, even true competitive companies are kind of putting down the swords and shields, right? And they're trying to figure out how they're going to work together. And, if we can dedicate a few of these engineers to work on this problem, how can we solve it and move upon? Because, there's a greater good, right? And I think that's one of the things that we're going to see really emerge from this.
I totally agree. I think that's when you have conversations like we're having today, which just incidentally, a lot of the comments that are coming in are not only questions, but everybody's really enjoying the conversation and the insights you guys are giving. So again, thanks for being here. But I think that when you hear things like that, I think that again pushes people to be inspired, to think about, hey, we're really being innovative and really trying to move the needle and in the midst of this crisis that we're in. So I think we'll see a lot more good come out. I totally agree, and see a lot of co-competition to help each other. So somebody actually came back, and I don't know if you guys touched on it or not, but they were wanting to know, when will we see the VR AR retail plan that Tom was talking about? When do you think we'll see that?
There's some experimentation with it now. I know of companies like just what you described, Darren, the idea of doing a self-body scan of yourself and seeing what clothing looks like. But most of the solutions I've seen are still, I'll call it in beta phase. They work a little bit, but not that great. And I think that's just a natural evolution that, it's early on. There's not just early adopters, but there are early customers, and we'll look back in 5 years and say, oh yeah, that company knew what they were doing, but they were too soon because they had the idea before the technology was ready. And these are normal things that happen as markets evolve. But I think we're actually in the early days of that more than people realize that we are.
Go back to the earlier question, and that is how this crisis has really illuminated the inequity in our society and how fragile it is and how many people are really right on the edges. And what do we as a society need to do to kind of bring everybody into the tent? And I think it's been sobering to watch it unfold, particularly in communities of color. And you've got the frontline workers, and like you said, Tom, we really are seeing and learning and getting reminded that the frontline people are the people who are making things go. They're making healthcare go. They're making our economy go. They're making our societies go. And I think if something good comes out of something really bad, it's that maybe we collectively begin to see how those inequities play out, and we start, going after that.
Absolutely. I think what economy we do have moving right now is in part due to the technology platforms we talked about, but in much larger part due to minimum wage workers. And maybe that's something that needs to be revisited. And as we talk about this digital divide and connectivity, that's another reality that's going to continue to force where we used to be, but we have a chance instead to go where we should go by providing a little bit more equality kind of across all these different dimensions.
I was going to say, I think it's going to be really interesting to see the adoption of like particular technologies, right? Where that may revolve around like safety and security, where they may be kind of borderline what some folks see as, infringement on, civil liberties. So I think there's going to be a really interesting trade-off to see kind of what society kind of welcomes and what they say is a little bit too far, because we do have some customers now that are they're already kind of borderline where they may have tethered drones and they're pinging by Bluetooth, seeing how far folks are apart. I mean, there's some sort of monitoring in some areas today, so it'll be really interesting to see what that looks like 6-12 months from now.
I totally agree. It's going to be very interesting when we have the opportunity, when we're on the other side, to really look back and really see everything that came out of it. So I totally agree.